During the late period of the Abbasid Caliphate, jihadist raids against the infidels ceased, while Muslim, Shia, Sunni wars broke out, due to which the spread of Islam was disrupted. Abbasids, Shayet Buweho Gularinla. He will not be able to cope with their attacks. He had become so weak. Thiand, the Buyids besieged Baghdad for the last time, when the Abbasid Caliph Abdullah Qayyum, Seljuk Sultan, asked for support from Tughrul Bey's Abbasi, the Shiite Caliphate, from the attack of the sons of Buweho, from his complete desalvation and Shia, the Buyid state after its collapse. The Seljuks, Islam, along with the Caliphate, having received the title of Guardian of the Realm. It happened 9 years later. The Sultan, under the leadership of Alparslan, the Seljuk army conquered Ani, the one of the 5 holy cities of Christianity, when the Abbasid Caliph to Alparslan, after a long time. This is what is done against Kufar due to the successful conquest. Abu al-Fath, that is, the conquests of his father gave him the title Abu Feth, Sultan Alparslan, due to the Shiite Fatimid state posing a threat to Islam and the Caliphate. To deploy some troops, Theto, the Byzantine border, and launch an expedition to Egypt, he headed towards Aleppo to organize the news of the conquest of Ani. The Christian world in that area was a data, completely devastated. Seljuklus, something against his progress. In case you need to do, they were thinking, for us, whatever that means. Mecca, Christian scholar, sudden to express the same meaning, had been 4 centuries on this land, ruled but day by day losing power and territory. Eastern Rome. The Akka Byzantium reached the eastern borders. Due to the Seljuk raids, they were worried. Emperor Romanos Diogenes, Ani, and by making an excuse for his conquest, what he expects from Christians that you can get support. Thias, well as Sultan, while Alparslan was on the Egyptian expedition attacking the Seljuk capital, Isfahan, to destroy the Seljuks by calculating what they could do was what they were doing. Finally, Emperor Diogenes 250,000 on the date of March 1071, from Istanbul with an army of people, has left. The spark of the war had now been ignited. Emperor, a great one led by Diogenes, the army destroyed the Seljuks and Islam. He was moving forward with the purpose of, this is what the spies in Anatolia reported. The Sultan, upon learning of the situation, Arslan, the Egyptian campaign, cancelled his preparations. With 30,000 soldiers under his command, he headed for Anatolia. Due to the conquest of Ani by Byzantium, that he would launch attacks. He knew but he didn't expect Byzantium to have such a large army that it could field. Located in the vicinity of Diyarbakir, Marwan's Kurdish state, against the Byzantine army, with 10,000 horsemen for Sultan Alp-Arslan, while providing support in the surrounding the area with the support of Muslims too. Sultan Alp-Arslan's army had reached around 50,000. Finally, the awaited moment has arrived. The 2 armies of Malazgirt. He was confronted on the plain. When night falls, Sultan Alp-Arslan, to determine the tactics of warfare, he gathered his commanders to his tent. Emperor Diogenes is numerical, relying on superiority. In detail, a war strategy, not specified. Only the first attack by Sultan Alp-Arslan would be waited for, and once this attack was repelled, the counterattack order would suffice. 26 on the morning of Friday, August, Sultan Alp-Arslan left his tent 8 kilometers from his camp in the Malazgirt plain. Far away, dedicated to the plain, the enemy troops in the area saw, your soldiers are uneasy. The Sultan, noticing their state, after leading the Friday prayer, then he mounted his horse and addressed his army. Here, there is no Sultan other than Allah the Almighty. Command and destiny are in his hands. Therefore you are free to fight alongside me, or to leave me at will. The Seljuk army responded to these epic words by shouting out the battle cry of Allahu Akbar. Shroud Sultan Alp-Arslan, he put it on and accepted his martyrdom. The Seljuk army that saw valiance with each other, he became lawful and took the order of battle. At this time in the Byzantine army, religious rituals are performed and soldiers of the priests wars in blessing. Emperor Diogenes, he was sure that he would win the war and the ancient glory of Byzantium. Imagine that you will return to your days had been to be won for the army regarding the outcome of a victory. Made grand promises. Honor, glory, honor, and holy war were announced to be rewarded. Emperor Diogenes organized his army in a traditional, according to Byzantine military records, manner. In the center, under the command of Emperor Diogenes, mostly in several rows deep, 100,000 armed infantry and archers. On the left flank, General Bryennios, 50,000 cavalry under his command, and on the right flank, under the command of the Cappadocian general Aliets. 50,000 cavalry. The Seljuk army is an oval that resembles a light crescent. It was divided into 4 companies by the formation. In the center, Sultan Arslan commanded 20,000 lightly armored foot soldiers and archers. On the right wing, 10,000 under the command of Suleiman Shah Atli Afshin Bey. On the left wing, 10,000 horsemen under his command. Fourthly, the rear area. The division positioned there was under the command of Artuk Bey with 10,000 horsemen. War. After the Friday prayer, the Sultan, the light under the command of Alp Arslan 20,000 armored personnel center. It started with the attack of his forces. The emperor is against this move, Diogenes. Theon 100,000 heavily armored personality center forces. He drove forward. This lasted 1 hour. After the battle, Sultan Arslan gave the retreat order. The retreating soldiers were seen by Emperor Diogenes, the Great, the cause for the religion of Allah, Islam, and the Muslims who follow that religion. Who they are and who they hate is very clear. The one expressed, it clearly gave the order. 1. Even a single Muslim is right. Don't put it down. On top of that, Byzantium, the right and left wings of the army after Sultan Arslan fell. Arslan's headquarters, the forces are lightly armored because they are a series 1. He runs away. Somehow, but Byzantium, the army should be heavily armored because he couldn't keep up with them. Meanwhile, Diogenes' army operates independently of any order. He was advancing to a single goal. What Diogenes didn't take into account was that this withdrawal was not a genuine withdrawal. This retreat was actually a fake retreat maneuver. First, to his army, Sultan Arslan, who gave the order to halt, then to his soldiers, turning back to attack the 250,000-strong Byzantine army with the order to charge forward, gave Suleiman Shah, commanded the cavalry on the right flank. Afshin Bey commanded the cavalry on the left flank against the Byzantines. They surrounded the army and formed a crescent shape. The Byzantine army from the right and left flanks, the horsemen charging at them when he was divided into 3 by his surprise, about 20,000 Pechenegs in the army, and the Cuman military is also on the side by chain. Theto, the Seljuk army, he joined. Meanwhile, Mr. Artuk, the Byzantine army with its horsemen entangled behind him, and Byzantine, his army into the wolf, the trap. He had taken it. There was no way out of this trap. Sultan Arslan's central forces had reached the area where Diogenes was located, who have not heard from their emperor. Byzantine soldiers wear their armor. They left and began to run away. But which way is it towards, even if they will escape? They didn't know. That day, the wolf, 123,000 inside the trap. The Byzantine is dead. The survivors all over Anatolia dispersed. This war, the Turks, the former jihadi under his command, that their raids will start again, he was showing it. Abbasids, these raids that ended during the period, the Islamic threat to Europe, he had saved it. Christian Europe between the Muslim Middle East, the Byzantium forming a buffer zone causing great power, and territorial loss of the state. The Seljuk state, this is between they pay taking over the region. Europe, harbinger of new raids aimed at it, was happening. The entire Islamic world, under the leadership of Muslim Turks, they will launch an invasion into Europe. The Pope, learning this, will launch crusades as a precaution. However, still, Muslim invasions into Europe will continue indefinitely. He couldn't stop it.